Hey, welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking with Katie, and in today's episode we are making Thai turkey meatballs, which is one of my favorite dishes ever. It sounds very weird. I know, it sounds weird, but trust me, you will thank me later when you try them, especially if you like Thai food. Even some people who didn't like Thai food like them. But they are some of my favorites, and they are very healthy. They are low carb. They're gluten-free, dairy-free, all the frees, paleo, a lot of people can eat them. So one hack with meatballs that you can actually use this for Italian style meatballs too. I mean, some people will not enjoy this because it's not traditional, but it's an amazing hack. And actually, I like these better than some of the ones that I've had that are made with breadcrumbs. Just saying, and it's healthier. So instead of breadcrumbs, we're actually using squash. We're gonna grate this squash. If you follow my channel or seen some of my other videos, I actually like to use squash over zucchini. If you have zucchini, you can totally use zucchini, but I feel like squash has a more mild flavor and doesn't taste as much like a vegetable. And maybe, when I'm making zoodles, they're yellow, so maybe that's part of it, so it doesn't really seem like a vegetable. But I feel like it lets the other flavors in the dish take over and not taste as vegetable-y. So we have our ground turkey, we have our squash, we have garlic, ginger, green onions, Thai basil, coconut milk, red curry paste, tomato paste, fish sauce, excuse me. If you actually, so I said this is gluten-free, but if you actually are celiac or have a gluten intolerance, you might want to be careful when choosing your curry paste and your fish sauce. Guys, oh my God, quarantine is getting to the head. So just be careful when you're choosing those. Soy sauce, as most people know, actually has gluten in it. So just be aware of that. That said, let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I'll give you what I serve it with too. One of my other favorite dishes. Okay, that's it. Let's go. Okay, let's get right into it. Our first step is the squash or zucchini. Make sure you do this first, because we are gonna grate the zucchini, then we spread it out on a board. And the goal for this is to get all of the moisture out of the squash that we can. The more moisture you get out, the better the meatballs will stick together. If there's too much water, then sometimes they can fall apart. So don't skip this step. We're gonna salt it, leave it for 10 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna get going on the rest of our ingredients. This is our Thai basil. So a little hack for herbs, especially ones with leaves, is I like to just twist it all up together and then you slice it across. It saves just a little bit of time and gets you really clean cuts. Next is our garlic. A little hack for garlic is to take the flat edge of your knife and just smash it down, peel the garlic, and then we are just gonna chop it up really fine. So I just want a really nice dice. Meatballs, if there's too big of chunks, sometimes it's harder to roll. So the smaller we can get it, the better. Then we have our ginger. I like to peel my ginger. Some people do it without peeling it, but I'm picky and feel like I can taste the skin. We are just doing a tablespoon, so it's about 1/4 of an inch. And same as the garlic, we want a really fine dice on this ginger, just to make sure that there are no chunks in the meatballs. Next, we have our green onion. We are doing 2 tablespoons of green onion. So it came out to just about a stalk. Make sure, same thing, that these are nice and finely chopped, just so that we don't have any chunks in the meatballs. It will make it easier to roll. Once we are done with that, we are gonna get into the sauce, and we start with a cup of full fat coconut milk, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Then we do 2 teaspoons of red curry paste. For the red curry paste, I really like spicy, so I added a little more. If you're sensitive to spice, you can also adjust it by adding a little less. I would go one at a time just to make sure it's not too spicy. We have half a teaspoon of fish oil, and then we are just gonna mix everything together. You can see when I'm mixing, I smush some of the paste against the side of the bowl, and it just helps break it up so there aren't any clumps, and that's so everything is nice and thoroughly mixed. After this, we are going back to that zucchini after 10 minutes, and we are just gonna squeeze the life out of it. So remember, we want all of that moisture out, because the less moisture, the better our meatballs will hold shape. Tap it one more time, then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. We have 1 pound of turkey. We have our ginger, our Thai basil, our garlic, and the green onions. We have a teaspoon of fish sauce and also another teaspoon of red curry paste. Last but not least, we have 1 tablespoon of full fat coconut milk. After you add all the ingredients, we are just gonna mix everything together. Make sure everything is evenly blended throughout. You can also use your hands. I should have, because you have to use them to form the meatballs anyways, but I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing it. Then you are gonna take about a little more than a tablespoon, and you are gonna form the little meatballs. We did about 16. Once you do that, we are gonna head over to the stove, and we're gonna heat a skillet up over medium-high heat. Add about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, and then we are just gonna sear these bad boys. So this step is just about browning the meatballs, so you don't have to worry about cooking them all the way through. It's more of a technique just to get that crispy golden taste that is gonna make them even better. So it's about 2 to 3 minutes each side. Once the bottom of that meatball starts browning, you're gonna check it and then flip it over. Cook it about another 2 minutes. Don't worry about cooking it all the way through. We will add the sauce later and then simmer them for the rest of the time. So really this stage is just about getting that nice, beautiful, golden little sear on those meatballs. Oops, fly away meatball. Once the meatballs are seared on both sides, we are gonna turn the skillet down to medium heat. And for the best part, we are going to add the sauce, my favorite. I ended up adding a 1/4 cup of water to the sauce. I used full fat coconut milk, so the water actually just gave me a little more sauce and was just enough to not dilute it, so you still get that creamy flavor and consistency. We simmer this for 15 minutes, and before serving, I always double check, just make sure there's no pink in the middle, but 15 minutes should be more than sufficient to cook them all the way through. And then enjoy your amazing Thai turkey meatballs. Hope you have a wonderful day.